Who are you to teach me Islam? You don't know, like, what did you study? I believe that I can just read the translation of the Quran for you, or I can ask you to read the translation of the Quran, and when you do that, it will have an effect on you because it's God's word. Even if
even if it's a translation, it's still God's
one
word.
Sentence, even if it's not a whole verse, even if you get one sentence from the Quran, like, bro, do you know how many times like someone will just read one verse and it will just hit them hard and they'll break down and because of just one verse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what I'm trying to revive is I want people to interact with the translation themselves and form their own opinions and thoughts. Right? So what I did today,
that's how it should be, by the way.
That's what I did today was I recited in the whole khutbah Surah Yasin.
Wow.
But what I did was I recited a verse and then I read the meaning.
That's amazing.
Then I recited a verse and read the meaning.
How far did you got?
The whole surah. It was a 40-minute khutbah.
No way.
We covered all of Surah Yasin.
Whoa.
So I read it like Yasin, and then I said Yasin, Wal Quran, and every verse after I would recite it, I would translate it. And that was the khutbah.
That's phenomenal.
That was the khutbah, right? So like, what my goal is I wanted people to see that like just reading or listening or reading the translation, it will affect you. And you'll be able to benefit, right? I spoke to this guy right here afterwards, I asked him for his opinion, and he told me that like, you know, what he made me understand was everyone's listening to the same khutbah, they're listening to the same translation, but everyone is interpreting it their own way, and you know, it's touching them in their own way, you know? Sure. And my whole point was like, look man, you don't, if you want to understand the Quran, just open it and read it. Yeah. My whole point of the khutbah was,
don't overthink it, just read it. Yeah.
Just like, you don't need no Malali Khan whispering in your ear next to you, like explaining it to you. Like, you know, like you got it, bro. You can do it on your own, you know? At the end of the khutbah I told people, I was like, listen, I hope this inspires you to just go home, pick up your own Quran, and read the meaning.
That's it.
And just watch the power it will have. It's God's word, man. It's
gonna affect you.
It's gonna affect you for sure. And it's just sad to me that because so many people are content with just listening to a beautiful recitation, or just you know, reading Surah Kahf on Friday. And I told them at the khutbah, I was like, look, I get that it's Friday and that you guys read it, but listen, the whole point of reading Surah Kahf is not like reading Surah Kahf. It's the reason we have to read it every Friday is because there are 3 or 4 major lessons in that surah that we need to understand and be reminded of constantly, like every week, right? And you don't get that if you just listen to like an Arabic recitation. You get me? No. So I was like, yo guys, you need to pick up that Quran at home. I don't care what language. You have no excuse. You can read it in Urdu, you can read it in Bosnian, you can read it in Chinese. Yes. The Quran is translated in every major language in the world, and most of the minor ones as well.
True. No, but this is what I'm trying to say, right? Like it makes more sense coming from you because you're empowering. You're a person, alhamdulillah, of the Quran, Qari, and then you're telling them, like, you're not trying to hold this monopoly, because a lot of times people monopolize this idea of the Quran, like you have to go to the scholar to only read it and all that sort of stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, for the tafsir and all that sort of stuff, yes, you need a teacher, you need someone really like guiding you so that you don't get off track, but at the same time you need to be empowered enough to pick up the Quran yourself. You, someone who basically travels the world reciting the Quran, where people enjoy the melodious like recitation of it, you're actually telling them that no, read the translation.
Now it's not about who explains it better in my tafsir versus your tafsir. It's about, we're just sharing the raw message of God's word. Yes. And so anybody can do it. True. You get me? Literally, even a convert can just, as soon as he becomes Muslim, the next day he can open up that Quran and all he has to read is in English. You know, that's it.
And you know what's so funny? I think that as a culture, we're moving away from reading in general. Like, we're very anti-reading. We don't like it because, like, even if you take a look at social media, right? Like, everything is videos, short videos, quick videos, and people don't like to read that much, you know? And it's so funny, our religion's based off the first word, which is read. Right? And yet we're actually running away from that concept of reading. And I remember I recently made a post, and that post was extremely controversial. Not if you read it. If you read it, it's not. It makes sense. But if you just look at it, it looks bad, right? And we need to do, and I'm happy that you're actually taking time in a gathering in a masjid where, you know, people come to renew their iman, that you're not just trying to give them something to take away from this, you're trying to like teach them the fish, you know, that concept where like you're not just giving them the fish, they feel good, they feel like a spiritual high, and then they just walk away with it. You're actually saying, hey, no, take this tool and use it all the time.
Absolutely.
And that's how it should be. And I'm happy that you're doing that, bro. Like,
if you believe in God and His power, so His words are so powerful, man. Like, I really believe that you know, people might be like, oh, it's just too simple. Are you sure that we're just open the Quran, read it?
Let me ask you a question. Why do you think that people are hesitant to open the Quran and read it? Like, what
you know,
would
the
be
thing is,
your
so
idea?
I'll tell you what it is. The biggest problem is, first of all, the translations, up until maybe the last 5-10 years, they were really hard to read. It was like Dawdi, you know, it was just really, it's just really, you know, it wasn't enjoyable to read. But now, you know, in 2018, 2019, you have, you know, like beautiful translation, like
Say International.
Because you know, the funny thing is, I was speaking to someone the other day, and I told him that, and he goes, "Oh, it's hard. The translation's hard to read." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Cool." I go to Quran.com.
Wow.
And I was like, "Here." I was like, "Start reading. Read to me in English. Just go ahead."
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm waiting for you to get to a point where you don't know what you're reading."
Yeah.
And he couldn't. He was like,
it's simple, straightforward.
He was like, "Oh wait, you know, it's true. All praise be to God."
Yeah.
You get like,
you know what that
simple
is.
Stuff. It's not that, like, you know.
But I found that it's mostly excuses to not do it. You're trying to justify this idea of not reading the Quran, because look, let's not forget the fact that the Quran is special.
Yeah.
The Quran is something special that it's like Allah gives you permission to actually read the Quran.
Absolutely.
When you think that, oh, it's not me, it's really Allah keeping something away from you.
Yeah.
We need to purify ourselves, purify our intentions, our heart, to return back to the Quran, because everyone else, translation, this and that, you're just being lazy. You're really not just doing it.
You know, but I'm gonna give just, you know, a little devil's advocate or whatever.
Sure,
you know,
please.
You know, but the thing is also, I feel like a lot of the scholars, like, you know, a lot of the people have made people believe, like, you know, I'm sure you've come across, who are you to teach the Quran? Who are you?
I swear, you're right.
You know,
there's
there's that element of the uncles.
Bro, that's not devil's advocate. That's a reality.
Yeah,
that's a reality. Yeah.
So there's people out there that make people really feel like you don't know Arabic. Who are you to preach? Forget reading Quran. Who are you to teach me Islam? You don't know. Like, what did you study?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, yo, bro, I don't have to be a scholar to share my opinion on life with you. Like, you get what I'm saying? I don't need to be a scholar to read a. But people, like, you know, for example, you know, some people market their Arabic classes. You can't understand. You need my Arabic program. You know, otherwise you can't understand the Quran. Quran is so comprehensive, and it's so big and hard and difficult, and you need to study as a Muslim. And a lot of people get discouraged, and like that's how I felt myself, because I was like, yeah, man, I don't know nothing. Like, who am I to read? I was taught.
You don't even feel like trying.
I was taught the translation is just like there'll be the people who speak Arabic and that studied it. They'll be like, man, the translation is like 2% of what you know in Arabic, and you're just like, oh man, like, you know,
feel defeated.
Yeah,
like,
you feel like, you know, but really, bro,
but you're trying. You're doing something to draw closer to Allah.
But then you grow older, and like for me, I realized that was wrong when I just opened the Quran and I started reading the translation. I was like, yo, this is hitting me real hard right now.
Bro, it's at a self pace. It's at a pace that you can take yourself.
Absolutely.
It's something that is not like monopolized by only those who have the knowledge. If this was the case, then this is actually an unfair religion from Allah. This is unfair.
That's my point. My point.
It can't be.
I always go back to the basics. I'm a very simple person, because I believe there's beauty in simplicity. So what do I mean by that? I always break it down. If there is a God, his religion has to be universal, his message has to be universal. The moment you start saying you need to have this much knowledge or you need to be this intelligent, it doesn't matter how intelligent you are. It's God's words. It's for everybody, and it will affect everybody differently. All you got to do is read it. You get what I'm saying? The fact, if you have the ability to break up the grammar and like look into it in depth and understand like 20 different tafsirs of it, well, mashallah, good for you, bro. And you're gonna be closer to God.
That's great.
Because the more knowledge you have, the idea is the more knowledge you have, the more you know about God, the more you love Him, the more closer you are to Him. But that doesn't mean someone else, just because you're really, like, I'm close to you, but he's also close to you. Yeah. Right? You get what I'm saying? But just because I'm closer, that doesn't take away from the fact that he's close to you as well. But people like to act that way, like, oh, my knowledge is, you know, I'm close, and you reading a translation, you know, you can't.
Please, translation, right?
You know, it's like
silly translation. No, but you make actually a really good point, right? You're making a really good point. The fact that, you know, like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this for every type of intellect. Those who need help, those who don't need help, those who are the scholars. Not everyone's going to be a scholar, right? This religion, this Quran is designed so it could be engaged with. So you could pause, you could ponder. And it's not just for the most intelligent person to ponder, but it's for more simple person, such as myself, as you're claiming yourself too. But I think that that's important, and people need to walk away realizing. I think the biggest message is, like, that we want you to take away right now, that whatever level you're on right now, whatever level you think you're on right now, Allah will accept you for whatever level you're on. Don't think that you need to be at a different level to even begin to read Quran. No, read at whatever level you're on. If you get confused or stuck, seek help. There's help. Seek help.
Absolutely.
But don't start this book thinking you're gonna need the help. Start to read it, engage with this book yourself, inshallah, and you will make progress. Just stop worrying about not doing it. Stop overthinking reading the Quran, and just pick up a Quran and read it.
Pick it up and read it, man.
Pick it up and read it.
And if you can't read it in Arabic, don't feel bad. Some people feel like, I can't read Arabic. The Arabic is beautiful, but at the end of the day, the recitations are beautiful. The Arabic is beautiful.
100%.
But at the end of the day, the main purpose of it all is the message.
Absolutely.
So if you can read the meaning and understand it, man, then you're benefiting.
Super important.
Look, man, if you read a translation, I'd rather someone reads the translation. You know how in Pakistani culture they're big on the khatam of the Quran, right?
Yes.
I'd rather someone reads the translation of the Quran one time.
Yeah.
Rather than being proud of reading it, finishing it every.
And by the way, this is not to belittle the Arabic. That's the language of the Quran. But what we're saying right now is that you don't need to be some scholar. You don't need to be some sort of major person to actually get into reading the Quran. You could be down with the Quran, but just make it a part of your life. That's what we're trying to say. Make it a part of your daily life where you're reading a verse of the Quran and you're engaging with this verse of the Quran. Man, that's the most important part about it. Jazakallah khair for this, man. This is
Barakallah feek for having me.
Listen, man, you've dropped some gems.
This started off as a conversation between us, and he started recording.
Just started recording it, man. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you guys. Drop in the comments below. How do you engage with the Quran? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Make sure you're following his page. No, this guy's big time. I don't even know. You know what it is. You know what it is. Hit this guy up. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you guys. We're out.